Hi all, just want to welcome everyone who's on. Thank you for joining this evening. This is Leoma Wells. Sorry, should introduce myself. I see a couple of familiar names and some that are new, so that's exciting. Anyone want to say hi before we get started? Or I was going to say if you're muted. You're all unmuted now for a second. If anyone wants to say anything before we get started, you're more than welcome to. All right. We're just going to give it a few more minutes. Start time's supposed to be 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, so I usually give people a couple minutes to get logged in and get online here, so bear with me. Once again, for those who have just joined, this is Leoma Wells, and we're kind of just giving people a little bit of time to get logged on here and join in. If you would like to make a comment or just say hi before we start, if you raise your little hand on your login, I can unmute you so that you can speak. We're getting a few more attendees logged in here, so just allowing them some time to get organized. All right, if everyone's ready to get started, we're going to go ahead and get rolling here so that we can all get on to evening business. My name is Leoma Wells, and I am here to present total herd enrollment. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. And believe it or not, it is as easy as 3 different steps as part of our total herd enrollment program. The first step is you choose an option that you'd like to enroll in. The second step is you enroll your dams. The third step is you send the data to ASA. 3 simple steps right there. Number 1, choosing an option. Members, you can choose from 3 different options that we provide currently in total herd enrollment. We call them A, B, or C. If you participate in any of these 3 options, it requires every dam to be enrolled and a calf or productivity code to be reported every year. All SimGenetics dams are enrolled in the same option, either A, B, or C. What that means is that all your registered cows, you have to choose whether they're all going to go option A, they're all going to go option B, or they are all going to go option C. You can't pick and choose with your SimGenetics females. In option A, every dam gets enrolled for $15 per cow per year. The calves born in the enrollment year and meeting all registration requirements are registered for free. Performance-based EPDs are going to be returned on all your calves that you submit to ASA, regardless if you register them or not. This option fits herds where you can register the majority of your calf crop or EPDs are utilized. So if you are registering greater than 40% of your calf crop, this is a great option to look at, especially if you value EPDs and numbers in your calf crops. Then there's option B, which is where every dam is enrolled for free, so it doesn't cost you anything to inventory the cows. EPDs get returned on your registered calves only, so if you don't pay the age-dependent calf registration fees that are listed there, then you don't get to see EPDs on your calf. Those age fees are, you'll pay $30 for a calf under 10 months of age, $40 for a calf between 10 to 15 months of age, and anything 15 months of age or older is going to cost you $50. This fits herds if you don't register the majority of your calf crop, so if you're registering less than 40% of your calf crop, and you're not utilizing EPDs in your selection decisions. What that means is if you have 20 calves and you only pay the age-dependent registration fee on 3 of those calves, you're only going to get to see 3 sets of EPDs on those calves that you registered. You won't see the other 17 calves EPDs. So if you're utilizing and basing your decisions upon EPDs, this is not a great option for you to look at. Then we conclude with option C. Every dam on your inventory gets enrolled for $7.50 per cow per year. Performance-based EPDs are going to be returned on all calves because you paid the $7.50 per cow. The age-dependent calf registration fees from option B apply if you want to register or paper a calf. What that means is if you pay the $7.50 for the cow, if you end up wanting to register and get a paper on the calf, you will pay $30, $40, or $50 depending on the age of the calf at the time of the registration request. This tends to fit herds where the EPDs are important, but registration papers are not necessary. So if having the piece of paper saying the calf is registered is not important to you, but seeing the numbers and the EPDs on the calves is, this is a great option for you to look at. And at $7.50 per cow, it's feasible for those of you who are just wanting to pay for your EPDs. Then we move on to step 2, which is enrolling the dams. Your inventory guidelines for your calving seasons. This is where breeders tend to get a little caught up. ASA considers a spring calver to be anyone who calves between January 1st and June 30th. A fall calver is any cow that calves between July 1st and December 31st. We all know that sometimes Mother Nature has different ideas about what they consider spring and fall calvers. So that you got to keep that in mind, that that's just our guideline. That's not set in concrete. That doesn't mean that if you have a cow enrolled in spring calving and she calves on July 3rd, then I'm going to make you move her to a fall calving schedule. It simply is a guideline for you to base your calving seasons off of. Spring calving inventories are due to ASA by December 15th. So what that means is my spring 2014 enrollments, they all have to be postmarked or turned into ASA by December 15th, 2013. Our fall calving inventories are always due on June 15th of the current year. So when we start enrolling for fall 2014, next April 15th is when that opens. You'll have until June 15th to adjust your fall calving cow inventory. Now we're going to talk about enrollment and what that comprises, it's made up of. All Simmental, SimGenetic registered dams must be enrolled in the same option. We kind of went over this. I tend to kind of try to, semen it into your brain because I have a lot of inventories that come across my desk where, they'll have 5 Simmental registered females in option A, and then they want to enroll 2 registered Simmental cows in option B. And unfortunately, you either all got to go A, all got to go B, or all got to go C. Your commercial dams and your dams of other breeds can be enrolled in any of the options, and you can switch them year to year. What that means is if I have a purebred Angus female, and for 2013 she was enrolled as option A because she was bred to a Simmental sire, and in 2014 I bred her back Angus, I could enroll her as option B for 2014 because I'll be submitting that Angus calf through the Angus Association for EPDs, and I'll be reporting it to ASA, to be in compliance with my reporting, but I don't necessarily mind if I have EPDs on the calf. So you can flip-flop those options year to year, and if you really kind of learn how to use this system, you're going to save yourself money. Members can have all ASA registered dams in option A and dams of other breeds or commercial dams in option B. So your registered cows could all be in option A, and your cows of other breeds, your commercial females, you could go down through those and pick and choose how you want them enrolled. To get you started, loading your preliminary inventory, you can either do online on Herd Book Services if you have a password for your online membership. If you have a password for your online membership, you can also download a form into an Excel file and work on it offline. I realize some of you don't have high-speed internet, or you would prefer to work on this on, on your time, and that's absolutely fine. Or the third option is you can request a paper inventory from ASA. I mail out a nice little packet with a bright sticker affixed on the outside of it. If you are a first-time THE member, we do ask that you contact us, and we can generate your preliminary inventory for you the very first time and make sure you get started the correct way. Now we're going to talk about what your inventory should consist of. So your enrolled dams are going to be any female of calving age. So any female that's turning 2 years of age during the enrollment year, she should also be on there. Any jointly owned female that's managed within your herd. So that means if you own a cow with John Smith and you manage her and she gets ran with your cows, you should enroll that female even though she is owned in a partnership between you and someone else. Also, donor and recip dams managed within your herd, which we'll go over in the next few slides, those should also be enrolled on your inventory. Any removed dams, those will be any females that were removed from your herd in the previous year. So if you shipped a cow because she came up open, or if you're in the really bad drought right now and you had to cull some cows, you would place a removal code on those females indicating that they are no longer part of your herd. They are gone. I get questioned about this quite a bit, so we added these slides in to kind of hopefully answer some questions. On your donor and recip dams and total herd enrollment, a donor should be enrolled if she is alive and being managed within your herd. If she's owned in a partnership, ideally the partner who has physical possession of her should be the one who enrolls her. If one of the partners is not in THE, the party who is a THE member, they're the ones who should enroll the donor. So if she's owned in a 5-way partnership and 4 of the partners are not in total herd enrollment but 1 is, the one who is should enroll that cow so that way, she's on an inventory and we're keeping track of her. A donor should also be enrolled and given the appropriate enrollment code for the year. We have 6 different active enrollment codes, and if you code a donor dam with a code 0, that indicates to me that she's going to have a natural calf in that next calving season. If you code her as a code 5, that tells me that you're currently flushing her and she's not bred back with a natural calf, so she's not going to be physically herself giving birth to a calf during that calving season. This is continued here. So the recips that should be enrolled, if you're managing a cow within your herd, even if they are commercial, they should be enrolled. If she's a recip cow, she needs to be coded as a primary code of a 6, which stands for recipient dam. If you are using cooperators, so if your neighbor down the road has 20 cows and he put in embryos for you, you should not be putting those on your enrollment because they are not your females. If you are using or purchasing commercial females only to use as recips and you're not retaining them if the embryo doesn't take, so if you go pick up 10 dams at the stockyards and sink them, put embryos in them, and you only are keeping the ones that keep the embryos, don't put those on your inventory. It's not necessary. We're only concerned with the cows that are consistently sticking in your herd. As far as if you're managing your own recip dams, you should be enrolling them by their tattoo, their breed codes, and their dates of birth. But if you're farming them out, have cooperators out there, we just ask that you don't even list those cows, because then you end up with a lot of commercial females under your member number that aren't actually even yours. I see I have some questions over on the side or some chats, and we'll go ahead and we're going to address those at the end, and we can come back through the slide. So I will come back over these. Just give me just a moment to bear with me. So on your enrollment, you're going to provide enrollment or removal data for every female that appears on your preliminary inventory. So what that means is you're going to update each dam with either a primary code, which would be an enrollment code. Like I mentioned before, it's 0 through 6. Or you're going to provide us with removal data for the female. We do allow you to use up to 2 removal codes to identify why a female has left the herd. So for example, if you coded a female, as open, exposed and failed to conceive, came up open, which is a code 60, you could also use an additional code of, a 71, which would be herd reduction, which, or if she came up open and she was injured. You could use up to 2 different removal codes, but on your enrollment codes, you only get to choose 1. So that means that you cannot code a cow as a donor and as an active cow bred to calve in your herd. You have to choose either a 0 or a 5. You can't choose both. And I put here on the enrollment data, if you have a commercial female, or if you want to add a cow to your enrollment, you have to either type her in by her ASA number, or if she's a commercial female, you need a tattoo or a tag number, a date of birth, and her breed composition. Last but not least, our step 3, which is the most important and very, very vital. You have to submit those inventories to ASA. So whether you're doing that electronically on Herd Book Services, whether you're emailing it to the@simgene.com, or whether you're mailing, in the U.S. Postal Service, or faxing that paper copy to our office, those copies must be returned or postmarked or submitted online by December 15th or by June 15th for us to not charge you late fees. If your inventory is completed, you get charged the $15 per dam for option A. You don't get charged anything for option B, females, and you get charged $7.50 for option C. If you miss those deadlines, what ASA does is our computer goes in and they do what's called a late enrollment. So they take every female that is on your preliminary inventory, and the computer marks her down as option A and bills your account $16 per dam. You do have 30 days to adjust that enrollment. So if the computer says that you have 25 cows and you only have 17, you will have 30 days to submit an inventory, either online, via email, or via paper, within that 30-day window, and we completely credit your account for that $16 for any removed females, but any females that remain enrolled, the $1 late fee remains tacked on, so it just ends up being an extra $1 per female. We're going to have our next e-seminar for total herd enrollment is going to be the evening of December 3rd. We are going to go over how to meet your compliance requirements and add some weight to your calf data. So we'll be sending out the link in your e-news, and it's going to be on online herd book services. So if you would like to join in that seminar, we would welcome it, making sure that you're covering all your bases as far as calf data. That one we actually get on the website, and I show you how to enter calves and make sure that you're covering all your bases. Now I'm going to go ahead and take some questions. I would like to remind everyone that 2 weeks ago, kind of an exciting thing happened, and we launched a blog for total herd enrollment and DNA. I titled it, Have You Heard? The link is at the bottom of my email as well as on this presentation here. If you would like the link emailed to you so that you can start following me on that blog, I will be updating it with the latest information on total herd enrollment or DNA services. I hope that it's going to be a great tool for you to utilize when you happen to not have access to us via phone calls. So I will go ahead and open it up for questions. I see that we have a few here. And so let's see. Looks like Cindy has a question, which Cindy is one of our data input services team here at ASA. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to unmute you, Cindy, so that you can ask your question. Go ahead.
Hi, Leoma.
Hi.
Yes, I just had a question in reference to, is the presentation posted out there for them to be able to go back and reference?
Yes, so all of our webinars are recorded and they are posted on Herd Book Services under the library tool, and it's going to be very easy to find. It's there under e-seminars, and it'll be THE easy as 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
All right, let's see. All right, looks like Rusty had a question. I believe he typed it in. Oh, maybe not. Chat? Let's see. Rusty, did you have a question? I'm going to unmute you so that I can hear your question. Are you there? Rusty, would you like to ask a question? All right. Does anyone else have any questions or want me to go over anything? I can go ahead and unmute you if that's the case. There we go. Travis has a question. Travis Wolf. Go ahead and ask your question, sir.
I was wondering, for commercial cows that have embryos in for someone else, if them cows should be enrolled as well.
They're your cows, Travis?
Yes.
Yes. You should be placing those females on enrollment. That's a great point. I didn't even address that. I'm going to write that down to put that on my next slide next time. So if you are running, if you're the cooperator running females for others, then you want to enroll your commercial females and code them as a code 6, which is a recip dam. And what will happen is the person, I mean, each situation is different, but the ones that I'm familiar with, the person who embryos in your female, they buy the calf back usually after weaning. And they will actually be the ones who report the calf to ASA and report the data and register the calf. And if you want your recip dam linked to that calf, then that member could actually use your on-file number for your commercial female and link their ET calf to your recip if you wanted to do that. If you don't, it's, that cow just remains on your inventory as a code 6, and, you go along your merry way.
Okay. So how do you link that cow, the calf to the cow again?
So when you put that cow on your inventory, or when you place her into the ASA database, so if you enter her in on your THE inventory by her tattoo or tag number, her date of birth, and her breed makeup, the database is going to assign her a number, and that number is going to be placed in parentheses, and that simply means that that animal is on file with the American Simmental Association. It's a non-registered number, and that number is what you would give the individual who is going to be reporting that calf information to ASA.
Okay.
I would say, though, one thing to note about that is if you enroll that the commercial female is option B, and the person who reports or registers the embryo calf links it to that recip, they will pay the $30, $40, or $50 for that registration. If you enroll the recip as option A and pay the $15 on her, when they link their ET calf back to that recip, the system recognizes that an enrollment fee has been paid on the recip, and it doesn't charge them to register their calf. So that would be between you and whomever you're doing the embryos with, which way they wanted you to enroll those females.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Linda's going to help us here with how you raise your hand. I'm unfamiliar with how you do that, so Linda, if you want to explain how to ask a question, raise your hand.
On the side where you see some icons, you'll see a little hand. And if you click on that, then that will show that you're raising your hands, so we know that you have a question.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any further questions that you would like me to answer? At this point, while we're waiting on everyone to think of questions, I'm going to bring up my screen and kind of show you my blog and what you can expect out of this blog. So I've just started. You can see here that the first blog post is about the reminder about tonight's webinar. I have the EPDs are now enhanced. If any of you are doing, DNA testing, there's going to be DNA updates on here. We mailed out some THE packets, very colorful. And down there's the THE webinar, and once again, DNA. On here, I hope to put some how-tos together. So my first post was about spring 2014 THE enrollment, now open. I walked it through here, the instructions of how to enroll your females on our online herd book services site. I also gave a link down here, that you can click on, just go right to herd book, some screenshots. So this blog is going to be hopefully helping each of you to be successful, not only in our online herd book services site, but also in total herd enrollment and DNA services. My blog is categorized on the right, and so each of the posts goes into a different category. And you can see here that categories so far are DNA and total herd enrollment. It also archives it by month. And then the recent posts are listed up here. I know that I'm new to the blogging process, as well as probably some of you are. So if anyone has anything that they would like to see on the blog, please email me, call me, and we will do our best to get it up there and make sure that we're getting you the most up-to-date information that we can. Does anyone else have any questions before we go ahead and end this session? Looks like Jim Berry has a question. All right, Jim, you're unmuted. Jim, are you there?
Yep. Leoma?
Yes.
Yes, I am. I'm wondering about the billing. I'm always never sure when I'm going to receive the bills for my enrollment.
It's a great question, Jim. We do offer two payment types. We offer for the enrollment options that require a payment, which would be option A and option C. We allow you to either say you want to be billed half of the amount when you submit your enrollment. So when you're submitting your spring enrollment December 15th, you can select to be invoiced only half the amount, which would be $7.50. For option A, it would be $3.75 for option C. So if you choose to do half billing, we bill you that half when you submit, and then in September of that year, we go back and bill your second half fees. For fall enrollment, it's the same way. You can select half, and I apologize, I should have said you can elect to pay the full amount up front, which would be the full $15 or the full $750, and then you don't have to worry about being invoiced later on during the year. And if for fall enrollers, you can, if you elect to pay half, that would be by June 15th, and then they bill the second half in March of the following year. So sometimes, as in this time of year, you should have just received your second half spring 2013 invoices in the mail, and you're also probably getting ready to submit your spring 2014 for your first half. So sometimes it seems like those two payments fall on top of each other, and unfortunately that's just the way the computer has it set up at the moment. But that's so your second half for spring is billed in September. Your second half for fall is billed in March. If you elect to pay the full amount up front, it's all billed at the time you submit your enrollment. Does that answer your question?
Is there any incentive to paying? Is there any incentive to paying everything up front, or is it the same cost either way?
It is the same cost either way. Yeah, there's no, they don't discount it any if you pay the full amount up front. Does that answer your question, Jim?
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you, Leoma.
Thank you. All right, looks like Charles Micklejohn has a question. I can't, it doesn't show it. Charles, can you type, Chuck, can you type that into the chat box? It's not letting me unmute since you're on the phone conference. Can you go ahead and type your question down below for me in the chat, and I'll address it? Or if you're, let's see. You might not be on your computer where you can chat it either. Charles, we won't be able to answer your question when you're not logged into the computer, so you'll have to save that question and email it or call me tomorrow and we can handle it. Okay. Or maybe says you're on the computer, so let's see. Well, we'll go ahead and we'll try to get that taken care of for you tomorrow. If there are no further questions, I would like to thank you all for attending this evening. I hope that you have a little bit clearer understanding of how total herd enrollment can be a little simpler than sometimes it's made out to be. And if you have any questions, concerns, I hope you will call or email me. 8:30 to 4:30 is our office hours here in the office. If that's inconvenient for you, we're always, waiting to kind of set up an appointment that works around your time. So if you want to get started early in the morning, if you just book an appointment with me, I'd be more than happy to get that arranged for you. And so with that, we're going to go ahead and end this session. And once again, I do thank you all for attending.